is up, everybody? Thank you for joining me today on this Saturday afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. Today, Jason might be joining me today, so we'll see what happens with that. But let's talk Yankees. Let's talk trade deadline. Let's talk needs and players that we think should be looked at by the Yankees. But before I do that, I want to give the shout out to the chat. Aiden, welcome. David, welcome. Jonathan, welcome. Thank you all for joining me today, as I said before. And please hit that like, subscribe, and share if you have not done so already. Dev, what's going on? So let's get into the discussion. So we haven't heard any moves of late, but we've heard the Yankees be linked to people. So with that being said, some of those players that the Yankees have been linked to were either traded or may not be traded now because their current parent team is doing well. For example, Cody Bellinger. So we have been linked to Cody Bellinger, and the Cubs are currently playing much better than what we have saw or had expected. So we need outfield help. We know this. This is something that's been a topic for God knows how long. They didn't, seem to do anything this off season to fix that and, fix that hole. And now we're in the position that we're in. So with the Cubs playing the way they are, Jonathan, I think you're right. They may not be inclined to moving players. They might be buyers, but again, we don't know this. So that's something that we have to look at and look at very closely. I personally would not bring back Ottavino, Aiden. Aaron Bummer, I would take a look at, but the guys that we want to get, we don't want to give up pieces that are going to be part of this future if it's not for controllable players. So that's guys with team control for X amount of years. Bryce, welcome. Mr. Coconuts, welcome. We have been struggling. Last night's loss was god awful. I don't know what's going on. I would stay away from Pham. Lane Thomas, let me look into him. I haven't actually seen him, so let me look into that. But if Lane Thomas you're saying he has 2 years of control, which is nice. I just want to see what position he plays because he's a baseball outfielder. Okay. So he's an outfielder of the Nationals, and he's 27, and he's hitting .287 with 16 homers, 54 RBIs. That may not be a bad idea with 2 years of control left. But again, this is also something that we've got to look at. Juan Soto isn't as realistic now, but it's still a possibility. Again, we don't know. As much as I would love Soto, and we may not get him. We're not getting Ohtani. Jason and I have discussed this multiple times. Tats and I have discussed this multiple times. And it does not look as if Ohtani is going to, we don't know what's going to happen with that, but it looks like Ohtani is going to stay with the Angels for the rest of the year, and then we're going to probably see him move on. I would love Snell or Hader. Snell, just because he has that experience in the East. Hader is a bona fide closer. Thank you, David. Anyways, what is it that the Yankees need? Well, Jimmy Mathers, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Thank you. We need outfield. We need pitching. We need a lot of things. So I think right now the main focus is trying to fix the pieces that we have. And with that being said, we have heard that David Bednar and Mitch Keller of the Pirates are available. If I'm Cashman, I'm picking up the phone and calling them and seeing what I can do to get done. So that is the first thing I would be looking at. I would also be looking at trying to get another outfielder. Chris, what's going on? Chris, if you are available, I'll put the link in the chat for you so you can join. But we need help. We need a lot of help. We need to get pieces and pieces now. We cannot afford to wait. I don't see Dylan Cease coming to the Yankees. Candelario Aiden is a free agent in 2024. So we may have a year of control left of him if we get him. Okay, so with that being said, Bryce, and I'll pull your comment up, that says that the Yankees are going to do something, but it doesn't mean they're going to. But those are encouraging reports. And I think that's something that we need to think about is, do the Yankees go after one person, or do we go after a combination of players? So the thing we need to think about is, what is the right path to go down? Me personally, I would have to say we would try to go down the path of getting multiple guys, not just one, not putting your eggs all in one basket. And they've done this on multiple occasions. Prime example with Cliff Lee when they were trying to trade for him from Seattle. That ended up being a bust, and then they didn't get anyone to help. So I wouldn't put your eggs all in one basket. J-Man Troy, I would stay away from. Not someone I would consider a prime need as of now. Do I trust Cashman to make the necessary changes? No. I mean, I don't exactly trust it, but I think in the long run, he will do what he is allotted and what he can do. Do I entirely trust it? No. So that's where I'm sitting at with that. Yeah, we definitely need to make a trade. We can't be sitting around and waiting until everyone comes off the board. So good point on that, Brad. I agree with that, and Jimmy. I would think the Yankees, if they had, if they have the pieces to do it, would make the moves now. But this is not what the Yankees do. They wait and wait and wait and wait, and then everyone comes off the board, and we cannot afford to do that this year. This is not something we can afford to do. It's time to step up and make moves. So that's what we need to do. And I would not go after Tim Anderson. He's having a down year. If you take a look at the Pinstripe Express podcast that we did with Scott Braun, he goes over a bunch of guys that the Yankees should not go after. And there are a couple guys that he did mention. So the Yankees need to really think about what they're doing. Also, getting onto the whole Torres thing. Gleyber Torres needs to be traded. Now there are rumors that he has suitors and he has people interested in him, which is a good thing. So, that's something to look at as well. I'm just checking here to see if there's anything Yankees related. But it looks like there's a couple teams also interested in Justin Verlander. Again, this is going to be a wild and crazy ride. I would not do any deals with the Astros. But if we're going to give up something like a Torres or a Peraza or anything like that, we need to get something back in return of value. I am not just giving them over for, a bag of balls. And, I'm not doing that. We need value in return. And yes, David, I'm going to bring your comment up because you are absolutely 100% correct. That's Cashman's problem. He has way too much patience because he's not reactive. He's reactive, not proactive. Set the market on trade. It's always another team, not the Yankees. You are absolutely right. Actually, Aiden, this is not a bad person to go after. But Garrett Crochet is one person I would love the Yankees to try to pry away from the White Sox. Now, if you look at what they've done, the White Sox, they've broken everything down, and they have traded left and right. Now, trade deadline targets for the Yankees, which is Bellinger, Candelario, guys like that, they need to pounce on them. They need to pounce on them now if they're going to get someone. So that's something that the Yankees need to start doing, and they need to make that call yesterday. Thank you, Bryce. I appreciate that. Max and Verlander. So I wouldn't be surprised if Arizona made a play for Max Scherzer. Also, I wouldn't be surprised if the Rangers did that. So it's a toss-up on them. But let's get into today's lineup. I want to put that out there so you guys are aware. So the lineup is, Torres is leading off, playing second. Judge is playing right and hitting second. Stanton is DHing, hitting third. Rizzo is playing first, hitting cleanup. LeMahieu is playing third, hitting fifth. IKF is playing left and hitting sixth. Bader is hitting seventh and playing center. Volpe is at short and hitting eighth. And Kyle Higashioka is rounding out the order and catching. And for Baltimore, this is their lineup. It is a good sign. That Judge is playing right. You're absolutely right. Adley Rutschman is catching and leading off. Gunnar Henderson is playing short and hitting second. Anthony Santander is playing right and hitting third. O'Hearn is playing first and hitting fourth. Ryan Mountcastle is DHing and playing and hitting fifth. Adam Frazier is hitting sixth and playing second. Austin Hayes is playing left and hitting seventh. Hauser is hitting eighth and playing center. And Urias is rounding out their order, playing third. So that's the lineups for today's game. Yeah, absolutely, David. I'll put the link in the chat for you. So, David, there's the link. You can come on in, join me. We're going to do kind of an open panel thing today. So please feel free to join. Anyone who wants to jump on and, join the discussion. I always appreciate everyone who comes on. So the trade deadline is going to be absolute mayhem. As we've already seen, we already have seen the White Sox burn that team to the ground pretty much. They have already traded 2 starters and 2 relievers to the Angels and the Dodgers. So Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly went to the Dodgers, and Giolito and Ronaldo Reyes went over to, or Ronaldo Lopez, excuse me, went to the Angels. I wouldn't mind Grichuk and McMahon, but I don't think the Rockies are going to make McMahon available because they like him. Grichuk is more realistic. I think that's more of the realistic way to go if you're going to do that. But obviously, we all know what the top choice would be, which would be Juan Soto. I don't know if the Yankees would want to take on Stroman, Aiden. Would it help the rotation? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100% would help the rotation. But Bellinger, yeah. Hey, guys. How's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Fortran?
What's going on, David? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm at work, just waiting to start, so I wanted to jump on real quick.
Yeah, no problem, man. So, as you heard me talking about earlier with the trade deadline targets and how the trade deadline is going to be mayhem, what is your take on it? Like, what do you think the Yankees need to focus on more? Pitching or outfield? Because they need to focus on both.
Jonathan, you want to go first or you want me to go?
I can go first. I think they definitely need to focus on the outfield more because they haven't had a left fielder for the whole year. I mean, this is the first. I think this is the first time, even back in 1990 when they had a losing record and they picked first in the draft. I don't even know if their left field was this bad. So they have had no left fielder since the first game, and they probably need to focus on the left fielder, and they need to focus on players who can get on base, a high on base percentage guy. I don't know that was actually Gene Michael's baby, I guess. The beginning of Moneyball, in my opinion, I think started with Gene Michael.
Well, don't forget Sabian had a little bit to do with that too, because he was part of that scandal.
I guess I don't know the whole background.
Yeah. Sabian was part of that too.
The problem with the Yankees is ever since 2019, they have wandered away from high on base guys, and they focus on primarily home runs or strikeouts, and they need to change that. And that is one reason why the Stanton trade has killed the Yankees. The Stanton trade stopped them from getting Harper, and that was basically the beginning of where we are right now, in my opinion.
Well, I think the problem with that was because Cashman reacted, going back to what we were talking about before, Mike. He reacted because Ohtani didn't even want to talk to the Yankees. So it was coming out that that's who the Yankees' target was. They didn't get their target. So the whole Stanton thing came up. Jeter basically fleeced Cashman, if you want to call it like it is. And now we're paying for that. But you're right. That did stop us from getting Harper. Because I think if Harper was on this team, I think he'd make a hell of a lot more difference than what Stanton's doing. Even though Harper's been hurt too, but he's been a little bit more available than Stanton, in my opinion.
If there was any time to get Soto, I think the best time would have been back in 2018. It could have. I don't know if he was available.
I don't even think he would. He really didn't become available till last year when
last year's when he really became available. So
yeah.
Last year's one. So it's funny because Uncle Tats and I were of Pinstripe Chronicles, and if you haven't seen his channel, please do subscribe to his channel.
I watch you all the time.
I know you.
I watch you when
I see you guys.
When I can.
For those who don't, but Soto, he and I always agreed on was the target that we should have gotten. And last year they were going after him, but the Nationals didn't like what the package.
They didn't like any of our prospects. They didn't like any of them. No interest whatsoever.
Zero. We offered them Volpe, Dominguez, Peraza, and they still said
didn't
no.
we? Yeah, didn't we offer our top 3?
We offered our top 4, and they said
4.
No.
But I also think they made a big mistake when they got Gallo, because how do they not know their own prospect, and how do they not know what type of player the guy who they traded to Texas was. How do they not know that person was that good of an outfielder?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. Well, that's the issue with this. I don't even know what department you want to call that. The minor league scouts and all that. I don't know, but
the Yankees have a history of doing this, going all the way back to Willie McGee. Look, yeah. I remember Hector did a couple. I think 2 months ago he did a trade package over the last 30 years under Steinbrenner of all the players they either traded or missed out on trading, and how many of them could have been a much different. The Yankees could have had a much different team just by not hugging prospects. David Adams was one option. They didn't want to trade David Adams for, I forget who it was, Cliff Lee. And he ended up not being a major league player.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been Cashman's problem. He's a prospect hugger.
Yankees have to stop prospect hugging. They need to
I agree.
Play their prospect or trade their prospect.
Yeah, if you're not going to play, I mean, look at Peraza, for example. You bring him up, you play him for a few, and now you send him back down already. Either play him or trade him.
The Yankees are going to destroy Peraza's career.
Yeah,
and he's going to
by sending him up and down.
He's going to kill him somewhere else. And in 2 years after they trade him, they're saying we had this guy, we could have played this guy. He's killing us.
And they'll make some excuse. That's what they always do.
This is the problem. This is the problem with Hal. He doesn't think about the team. He thinks about the money, especially with that bullshit patches. What are you going to?
Oh my God! You're making over. What is it? It's 25. What is it? 25 million.
You have an extra $25 million because of a bullshit patch on your sleeve. What are you going to do with that money?
Yeah, he's gonna. Yeah, I mean. And it adds up to over 100 million, I think, because I think it's 25 million for a certain amount of years.
I don't know the whole.
Yeah, they said it, but I forgot what it was. But yeah, you're getting all this money. There's no excuse anymore.
I mean, the best way to make money owning a sports team is to win.
Is to spend. To win. Mm-hmm.
That's what George Steinbrenner understood.
It's the same business saying you got to spend money to make money.
Yes,
and they do spend money. I will not take that away from them. They do spend money. The issue is how they're spending it. They're spending it on the wrong players.
Exactly, and it started with the Stanton trade.
Yes.
The current
I mean, listen, I was all for it, but I started thinking that you already have a player similar to that on this team, Aaron Judge.
Exactly.
So it's kind of redundant, you know.
But that Stanton trade prevents them from getting a guy like
Harper, even Machado.
And actually, they needed a guy like Machado even more than Harper because they never had an infielder.
Right, kind of like that, exactly. And you know what the funny thing is, I don't know if you remember this, but originally this team wasn't handed to Hal. Hank was actually the face of the team.
Yes.
And then Hank unfortunately passed away. But Hank was exactly like George.
Yeah. If Hank Steinbrenner was running this team, we would already.
It would be a lot different. Yeah.
I don't think we would have Aaron Boone as the manager.
Aaron probably would have been gone a long time. No, they might have had him, but he would have been gone already. I think Cashman would have been gone already. Yeah. You know what? You know what I wonder? Within the organization, besides Hal, if a lot of them want Cashman gone.
I think they do because I would have even signed someone like they had Kim Ng before.
Yeah, she was in the organization. Yeah.
Yeah, I would have. I think this team needs a new management structure, new manager, new general manager,
They need a new vision. Look what the New York Giants did. Now the difference is with the New York Giants, they had a few losing seasons.
Yeah.
But Mara finally realized, hey, the way we're doing this is not working. We need to go outside the organization to get a different vision. And look at them now.
But you know what the best scenario for the season, in my opinion, is they're missing the playoffs. Because missing the playoffs Stop the bullshit excuses that we're
No,
just
because
good enough.
think about it. No, because Cashman and Boone have contracts, and Hal already said, unless things really take a bad turn,
Exactly.
they're not going
and a
anywhere.
Bad turn is
So-
missing the playoff.
So I think it's going to take more than just missing the playoffs.
Right.
And I hate to say that.
It
But
shouldn't.
I think
Missing the
if this
playoffs should
team
be it, but
ends up
yeah.
with a season with a losing record. Like they are below 500 at the end of the season. That is what I think it's gonna take to get some change.
That's why I go back to mentioning with the New York Giants. The only difference is they had a few losing seasons before they made changes.
The Giants had, I think, Saquon Barkley was the second pick in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it took a few losing seasons for Mara to realize what he's doing is not working. The issue is, technically speaking, what they're doing is working. They're just not getting. They're not getting the results we want, which is they're not making it to the World Series. They're barely getting into the ALCS.
I see Mr. Coconuts in the chat saying Dodgers have spent more money, yet they have a more successful franchise. Yes, and I agree with that. And a big problem is the Yankees from 2007 to 2012 didn't have every pick they chose with their first round never made the never made the team with the never made it to the Bronx.
Right.
So for 5 years, your top pick never broken with the team.
Not broken with the majors. Yeah, that's a lot of our problem. But that goes back to the prospect hugging.
And in 2013 is when we got Judge, and he was the third number one pick. We had three picks that year.
Right.
Jagielo and Clarkin were the other ones.
Here's the other thing, which this kind of leads into the whole trade deadline thing. If you look at teams like the Dodgers and the Angels, they've already went out and spent the prospects that they have to get pitching.
Angels gave up what? They're 2 and 3. What is it? Their number 2 and number 3 prospect to get Giolito and Lopez.
Yep. And this goes to Udel's point. There's no accountability for executives and players, and that's because when they went out and traded for them, they knew that if they didn't do anything, there was going to have to be accountability held. But with the Yankees, a complete 180.
Yes. Agreed.
So whenever you trade, you don't want to trade for garbage. You don't want to trade for someone else's garbage. You want to trade for someone that can actually help you. And
help the team?
Yeah, and a player, especially a guy like Gallo, they traded Duran, who's now killing it in Texas, and they basically got a guy who can strike out 200 times and can't even hit 200.
I mean, Gallo was doing, before we traded for him, he was doing good with Texas. So I think it's just
striking out a lot, and he had basically a 2.
Oh, he was always known for striking out a lot, though. In fairness, but that means they didn't do their due diligence. If they would have saw he was, but that goes back to the mindset of the organization. Going back to what you guys said, high strikeout, high home run.
Well, that's another thing. The baseball has become too comfortable with guys striking out 200 times and hitting 50 home runs instead of more comfortable with a 400 on base percentage and a 300 batting average.
Well, I think they're trying to get back to a little bit of old school baseball because look what they're doing. I think the steals are up more because of the size of the bases. Yeah. They're stealing a lot more, So I think they're trying to change somewhat, but you're right.
And I've looked at the 98 team. The 98 team, I think Tino Martinez had 29 home runs as the leader of the home runs, and nobody on the starting lineup had a batting average below 290.
Right.
And that's our problem. And that's where these trades become so important. And that's where your prospects play such a major role. So
but do we trust
Cashman? If you remember the Yankees saying that they are looking to upgrade a catching any kind of pitching depth, outfield, whatever it is.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay. The Pirates have put their all-star closer, and Mitch Keller on the block.
Why isn't Cashman on the phone already?
I think
On the phone.
Wasn't Bednar the closer?
Yeah,
Yes.
Bednar's the closer. And that's what I was going to say. You've done so many deals with him. Why are you not on the phone with them already? As soon as you heard that, you should have been on the phone.
Exactly. And then when the Padres said they will entertain offers on Hader, Soto, and Snell, that would have been the very next call I made.
Well, oh my God! You could have took care of 3 different things all at once: starting, reliever.
I agree with
outfield.
Jason when he said that Soto is the only player I would trade Volpe for.
Yeah, I would too. Because I think you could.
I wouldn't trade Volpe for him. I would trade Dominguez.
Well, Dominguez would probably be in the deal anyway. So
regardless, but here's the problem. But I'm using Peraza because this is the prime example or the latest example of this vicious cycle that we've seen for years and years and years. Peraza comes up. Already he's producing more than what Donaldson is. They bench him.
I knew exactly where you were going. I knew exactly where you were going with that.
They don't play him, and then they send him back down.
Send him back down after.
Yep. They don't trust their prospects.
No, it's not that they don't trust their prospects. It's because if a prospect produces, then they're wrong. They need to not produce, and then they can stay.
Yep. Well, it seems like the Yankees are comfortable with losing.
Well, that's why I said if you're not going to play him, trade him.
Exactly.
Instead of just having him up and down.
But
it doesn't work that way.
But that's
FET Drake makes a great point, and he is 100% right on this. Cashman will wait to the last minute to make a move, probably.
That's why I put that.
I was just looking up some stuff on
that's a mistake, and I agree that they should trade Florial because they're never going to use him.
They're never going to play him. But that goes back to the reactive proactive thing. He'd rather react instead of being proactive. Like I said, set the trade market, just like the Angels just did.
And here's the other issue. And I'm going to put this out there because this is something that Cashman has done for the last 5 to 10 years. I'll say just as a estimate range. But last year, what did Cashman do at the trade deadline? He got 5 different players, right? He got Benintendi, he got Montas, Trevino,
Efros, and Bader.
So he made 5 different moves.
Right.
But out of those moves that he made, how many of those moves do you think came at the very last minute?
3.
Who is it? Montas, Trevino. That was 1. Bader,
and
I think it was because we got who did we
got Benintendi early.
Got him early. That was actually I think that was a few days before the trade deadline, as a matter of fact.
Yes.
So the ones we got late were Montas, Trevino, and Bader.
Yes.
They were all because as a matter of fact, I ultimately think I don't think they ever confirmed it. I think they did that Montgomery Bader move was because I think Cashman thought he had a deal for Pablo Lopez.
Yeah,
we did,
and then that's when the trade fell through.
Because they wanted someone else. Joel, how's it
Peraza.
going, bud?
They wanted Peraza. It was supposed to be Glaber for Pablo Lopez.
It was supposed to be Glaber, Hicks, and a prospect for
Hicks. Lopez. Okay, I don't even remember Hicks being in the deal, but yeah. And then they said, I guess because they were going to take Hicks's contract, they wanted Peraza.
Yes.
That's probably what it was.
That's the deal fell through.
But those are the trades you're going to have to make now. If you want to get under the luxury tax, you're going to have to make moves like that.
They probably should have done that deal.
And
they probably should have.
Both have heard Jason and myself, when I've been on Jason's live streams, you both have heard both of us say that in order to get something good, the trade is going to sting, but you're going to have to give something up.
I've heard both of you say that. Yep.
That the deadline targets that we have lined up that they want in Bellinger, Candelario, guys like that, they had a chance to get in the offseason. But now all they had to do in the offseason was just spend a little bit of money. And they didn't do it.
No, it was too much. That was too much for them. We consider a little bit.
Here's where it contradicts themselves, because if you remember when in that interview that Judge had after he got re-signed, there was reports saying that Hal said that he was going to get Judge pieces around him to help him out, and he didn't do that.
No, he never did anything.
They said that they weren't done, but
they weren't done.
They were done.
Yeah. Yep.
Because what they do is they spend money, but they don't spend money in the right spots.
Exactly.
And this is the issue, because people kept saying, "Well, Cashman re-signed Judge." No, he didn't. Hal re-signed Judge.
Hal was the one who wanted Judge back.
Right. I think Cashman was ready to walk away. He was ready to move on because he wasn't taking the deal.
That was a similar situation to A-Rod in 2007.
Yeah.
Right.
Cashman wanted A-Rod gone, and he wanted to get someone else.
Well, don't forget, A-Rod was really close with Hal, so that's probably why that got done too. But I also think Hank was involved in that deal. The brothers were the ones that made the deal. Yeah, so and that goes back to what I was saying before.
The difference between Hank and Hal is that Hank would spend money just like his father.
Like his father, and remember, he was actually the one that was supposed to take over the team.
Yes.
It was originally George wanted Hank to take over because Hank was just like George.
But
I think Hank got sick.
Yeah. But then Hank passed earlier than he should have.
Right, and then that's when Hal. But you have supposedly one of the sisters. I think it's Jessica Steinberg Swindle. Supposedly is like George too. That she wants the team to be good, but Hal's basically the face.
Do anything?
Yeah, they all have a piece in the team.
Didn't she have just as much power as Hal Steinberg?
You would think so.
I want to move on to this whole trade deadline mayhem because we've covered the Yankee deadline targets, but the trade deadline is going to be absolute mayhem.
Yeah, and I
agree.
Pieces being moved.
Yeah, and I think there will be major moves announced after
we're hearing that Nolan Arenado will waive his no trade clause to go play for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Yep.
If that happens, the Dodgers are the team to watch out.
Team to beat. I don't know. I still think Atlanta. I'm still watching Atlanta.
I'm right there with you, David.
Atlanta.
I'm still watching Atlanta.
I don't know if you guys were I don't know if you guys both were on the stream last night or were watching Jason's live stream. I had said I could see an Orioles-Braves World Series.
Yeah,
I did hear that. Yeah, I could. I don't know if I still trust the Orioles yet. They're definitely they're in first place, so we know they're good, but they still need to make a couple of moves.
The Orioles have the pieces to get anybody they want.
I think they're mostly going to go for pitching. Honestly,
that's what I think. I think
they trust their offense.
Pull a move out of nowhere, and I think that move is going to be a Corbin Burns. I really do.
I was gonna say Cease. I was gonna say Dylan Cease, but
yeah, I think they need one starter.
I think if they're really serious about making the postseason and staying in first, they're gonna go out and get a Corbin Burns type pitcher.
But if the Orioles get Cease, I don't think the Yankees have a chance.
What was that, Jonathan?
Say that one more time.
If the Orioles get Dylan Cease, I don't think the Yankees have a chance at the division.
They don't have a chance at the division now.
Yes, but if they get it will all depend on the changes. I'm saying if the Orioles get Cease, that window is closed. If the Yankees make the right moves and start playing well, there is a slight chance, just like in 1977 or 78. But
this is just one man's opinion. I think they're way too far out for the division, but they're close to the wild card. I mean, I guess anything can happen, but I'm sorry. I just don't. I can't. I've lost complete trust in Cashman.
And this adds to the mayhem part of the trade deadline.
Yes, it does.
The Yankees are saying they're waiting till after this Baltimore series to decide whether or not they're going to go out and buy or sell.
That's bullshit.
And that's a horrible idea.
That's a horrible way to look. Why can't they just do what they did in 2016? Buy and sell.
That
Sell what you
that
can.
wouldn't be a bad idea.
Sell what you can, get what you can, and ride with what you got.
They should.
Yeah, we know that, but do they know that?
No.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently not. If this is what they're going to go with, And I got a question. Do you guys think that Minaya and Sabian are helping with this trade deadline?
You want to know something? I think they want to, and this is just me. I think they want to help and they want to do something, but because of the positions that they're in, their hands are tied, so they can't really.
Agreed.
They don't have the say to be like, "Hey, well, let's go out and start making deals now," because then they might get fired.
Right, and
I agree with that. I think they know what to do. They just have no power to do it.
And then what's the point of bringing them in? You brought them in as advisors, basically, is what they are.
I think.
So why don't?
I think
both,
they brought them in as a ploy to make everyone think something is going to change here, but it's all everything is a marketing ploy.
I mean, true. And I also think that look at that they started it looks like even though the offense obviously isn't doing well, but it seems like there's some type of different approach with the offense since they brought in Sean Casey. If you notice different things with batting stances, definitely change. Is it helping? Not really.
Here's the other thing though, David, is that Minaya and Sabian are so good at being a GM that if they even say anything, it's going to be like them trying to be that GM, even though they know that they're not able to.
Right.
Even though that's not what they're doing, they're advising and they're telling Cashman, hey, maybe you should go down this route. And you know what? They're probably right. Because
probably are.
I'm going to make some notable acquisitions on both of their parts.
Honestly speaking, I'd let them try to make deals.
Yeah.
If I were Cashman, because apparently there's certain things you're not good at. Why not take advantage of what they're good at in certain aspects?
I'm going to bring this up because this is something Jason did.
Yeah.
He mentioned that.
Point on.
He mentioned that.
I mean, I would fire Randy Levine and give Cashman his job.
Randy Levine's a joke.
Yeah.
But
he doesn't do anything.
The notable acquisitions that Brian Sabian made: Barry Bonds, JT Snow.
Mm-hmm.
They were
he built
the Giants.
He built that Giants team.
Yeah,
he built that World Series team too.
He single-handedly made that Giants team
a World Series team.
Brought them a World Series
team.
Mm-hmm. And Minaya didn't do a bad job with the Mets either. He wasn't great. He wasn't like Sabian, but he didn't do a bad. His specialty is scouting. So why not take advantage of that? Let him go scout for you.
Because Hal is afraid that if they even get their hands on anything, it's going to go completely in the opposite direction of what they want. And they're not going to be yes men. Let's be real here. Minaya and Sabian are not yes men.
Nope.
They're going to want to have complete control on who to get and who not to get. They're going to want to have all the say in who they get and who they don't get. Because if you remember when Minaya was with the Mets and Sabian was with the Giants, that's how it was. They had full say. They had free range. And they made those teams contenders.
Well, one thing I will say is if you look at the history of any sport and when having yes men, it usually doesn't work out very well for the team.
No. And that goes to the analytics side of it.
You need to have someone like Gene Michael who knows baseball and who knows how to build a team.
Right. Why is it that you got a team like Tampa Bay who doesn't remotely have the resources we do, but they have no problems with analytics? And you have a team like us who have the resources, but don't know how to use analytics.
I think Tampa invest in their development. Invest in their
Right.
players. They
Right.
don't
Player development.
They don't rush. They just get the players, do the scouting, and you turn up to have a good team. You don't need $200 million or $300 million to have a winning team. You can win with $100 million or less.
Right.
So
and
this leads into the trade, the whole trade rumors portion of this now, which is we know we're not getting better with what we have. We don't have an outfield. The pitching is in shambles because they've been taxed and overused. Because other than Cole, the bullpen, we haven't gotten length out of the starters.
Right, and then the bullpen is taxed.
I think the loss of Efros also hurt the bullpen.
I don't know if
I don't know about that because he wasn't exactly that great when we got him either. In fairness,
Efros had a 2.63 ERA.
I guess maybe when I saw him, he was a couple of games I watched when he wasn't that great. But okay, that's my mistake. Go ahead, Portrait. What were you saying?
You heard? I don't know if you know who the Shift is. Joe from the Shift.
Yeah,
I haven't checked him out. Please check him out. Subscribe to his channel. He's got great stuff as well. But he mentioned something that was very interesting. Jordan Hicks, the closer of the St. Louis Cardinals. Yes. That is one rumor that I have heard that the Yankees are linked to. So
that's what I heard.
Why aren't you calling up the St. Louis Cardinals about Jordan Hicks?
I mean, who knows? Maybe they might have.
For God's sake.
See, this is the thing. We don't know what they're doing because they're so secretive. We keep speculating because all we could do is speculate.
It's a problem, but it's not.
I mean,
it's also a good thing.
The Yankees also trust their bullpen enough not to add another arm and think they can just call up someone, or maybe they think Nestor Cortez will come back and be their saving like a silver bullet.
But that's the problem. He's not going to be like that. Because the Yankees blew way past what his top amount of innings was ever in his career last year.
Right.
All right. So they blew that out of the water. And then he got hurt. So we'll have to see. But it's true. I want to know what you guys have heard, though, for rumor-wise.
Rumor-wise, I've been looking all day on Twitter and other sites, and I haven't heard a lot. But the only thing that I've been hearing is that Yankees are exploring a trade involving Gleyber Torres and
Miami. In Miami, Gleyber Torres. Yeah. Most of the stuff I've been hearing about is mostly about other teams, not even the Yankees.
I mean, if I was the Yankees, I would explore training Domingo Germán to see what I can get for him.
That goes back to setting the market. The White Sox got a top 2 and top 3 for Giolito. See what you can get for Severino, Domingo Germán. You might be able to get a 7. You never know.
Look, I'll be surprised if the Yankees don't. I'll be disappointed if the Yankees don't try to trade Germán or Severino. I think
at least you could probably get more for Severino than you could Germán. Honestly speaking,
you think so?
You'll hit the nail right on the head. This roster is burnt out.
And the roster is burned out because the way that Boone is managed the whole year. I hate the fact that
is it Boone or is it the front office?
Well, I don't know, but
you see what I'm saying?
The way that Boone manages their pitches, with the exception of Cole, who he lets pitch until he has 110 pitches. There's nobody else he lets going 100 pitches.
Yeah. So, well, do we have anybody else that can throw 100 pitches?
Well, Germán at times can do it.
Well, when he had, I guess I don't know how much he had on the perfect game, but
he had 99.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
If you go take a look at that interview that Tats and I did on a while back with Scott Braun, he goes over a lot of stuff that we've been talking about here today. But he also goes into stuff that's not known to most.
Mm.
So one of the things he touched on was how teams are run.
Right. Yeah, I think I saw that. I
Yeah,
saw that.
Teams are not run by managers.
Right.
It is
That-
the
that- that's the
upper
thing.
management that does it. They create
The
money.
manager is the go-between, the front office and the
Yeah,
players.
as
That's
I
all the
remember,
manager is
as
at
I
this point.
remember, you said the pay of the managers was a lot less than it was 20 years ago.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. I don't even know who is the highest paid manager these days.
Let's take
And
a look.
I think the high. What is it? And what are they making? Like $2-3
I-
million at
I
most.
would be surprised if
Something
any
like that.
manager makes more than $4 million this year.
Agreed. Because let's be honest, you really don't need a manager these days. Is it?
Dave
To me,
Roberts.
who? Dave Roberts?
$6.5 million per year.
Oh wow,
Who?
that's more than I thought.
Who is that?
Dave Roberts, the manager of the Dodgers.
Dave
That's actually surprising, but at this point, why don't you just take the manager out, let the GM go down and manage? That's basically what you're doing anyway.
Yeah, but I think they need to manage. I think they need a manager who knows how to manage a team. They need basically an old school manager.
So forget about all
really.
that for a second.
And I've also said this. I think, in my opinion, looking at this year, I don't think the Yankees will ever win as long as Boone is the manager. That is my opinion.
I agree and I disagree at the same time. I think they can. The issue is, I don't know if they actually let him manage. If you know what I mean. I think the front office controls so
What
much.
happened in 2019? That
The
was
front
that's the
office
closest.
controls way too much.
It's the issue.
But forgetting all of that,
Mhm.
the Yankees need to fix the holes they have.
Right.
They have holes the size of the Grand Canyon, and
They have
everybody
left field,
knows it.
starting pitching, probably third base.
Hey guys, I got a couple of minutes before I got to get out. So
That's fine. We're going to wrap it up in a little bit anyway. So
yeah, I just wanted to say that going back to your question from earlier, Maz, in terms of trade, I mentioned they talk about catcher, right?
okay.
Who do we have? Higashioka and Ben Royvet. What if I don't know how he's hitting in Chicago, but what if we take a shot on a Grandal? He's a switch hitter, so he can bat righty and lefty, obviously.
Yes.
I can't foresee him costing that much. That can fill. Probably won't even have to give up that much. I just don't know how much I don't know how much he's making.
I'm going to tell you right now how much he's making. Give me 1 minute.
But while you're doing that, so you could probably fill your hole with catcher with Grandal, unless they want to go. What's his name from Colorado? Elias Diaz.
Well,
If
they make a trade with Grandal, they might as well get Richard.
Is signed through 23 and a 4-year, $73 million deal.
I mean, he's really not making that much. And he can hold down the. I mean, if he can hold down the position.
18 and a quarter is what he's making.
I mean,
that's a lot of money for a catcher.
Yeah, especially for someone like him.
Doesn't hit.
That's what's. Yeah. All right. So okay, maybe we don't go get catcher, but if I had to choose between the pitching and left field, I want to say left field so bad, but our bullpen is so burnt. You might have to go with the pitching, because if you go left field, great, you cover that hole. You cover that hole.
Have you heard of anything about Louis Hill?
No.
He's recovering from Tommy John.
Yeah, I know about that, but I know that he's recovering. But is there a chance that he returns this year? Because he's another pitcher.
I heard he might.
Because he was another pitcher that the Yankees had that if they still had him, he could help.
Yeah. All right, guys, listen, I got to get out of here.
All right, David.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
No problem, man.
All right, later.
Later, Dave. So we're going to wrap this up in a couple minutes, but
okay.
I just want to get your final thoughts, though, on something. If you're the Yankees, what do you do right now, today, to get something going?
I would find a left fielder, and I would focus on left field because I think that has been a bigger issue than pitching in this year, especially.
Would you go out and get Bednar and Keller from Pittsburgh?
And depending on if I could get them without giving up Arias and Dominguez, yes.
Okay. I like it. Well, Jonathan,
I think Arias is the one player I do not trade, with the exception unless it's for Soto.
Okay. Well, you brought up great points. I want to thank you for joining me today. Thank you for coming on. This is the final stop. I want to thank all of you guys for joining me today. Please remember to hit that like, subscribe, bell icon buttons. Share this, and I thank you all again for subscribing, and it's greatly appreciated. If you guys have not subscribed or seen Jason's videos, please do so. 161 River Ave. There's also Joe from The Shift. There's Uncle Tats from Pinstripe Chronicles, and Hector from Morning Brew Sports. Please show them love and like, subscribe, and share their videos, and help them out. So thank you guys again, and
thank you for having me on the live stream.
Absolutely,
we should do this more often.
Yes, definitely. When it's not so busy, yes. But thank you guys again, and I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.